Hi there BookTube, it's Eleanor here and it's time for my January book haul. So I obviously am not buying books in January, but I did complete my Shelf Sam challenge for January. So Brittany from Under the Radar Books and Janet from Swirly Girly Reads very kindly gifted me a book each, which is how we're doing Shelf Slam. If you hit your target, we each buy each other a book. And I was also sent some books from publishers. Quite a few this month, more than I probably would have normally, and I'm hoping that I won't be accepting as many, but there is a reason for quite a chunk of them, and I'll start with those. My wonderful friend Caitlin from the channel Kitty G has been reading through the SFF Masterworks from Galance, and I was really intrigued by some of these to read along with her, and in order to do the buddy read I needed to have the books, and so Galance very kindly sent me a selection of their masterworks, so I did get a selection here. I received Beauty, which is by Sherry S. Tepper. So this plays on the story of Sleeping Beauty. However, Beauty sidesteps this sleeping curse but ends up being taken away and kidnapped by visitors from another time and place. So that sounds like an interesting read. I was also kindly sent Umbria in Shadow by Patricia A. McKillop. This is the story of a prince and he has a sinister great aunt who wants to take over the kingdom when he dies, and but there's like a legend that she's going to be like the worst ruler ever. The only other person potential who can take over is the prince's son, but he is young and not ready, and I'm sure this is going to be sort of a coming of age boy battles it out to become king story, which I'm excited about. There is Thomas the Rhymer by Ellen Kushner. This is the story of a minstrel who gets taken into a magical world. We've got The Forgotten Beasts of Eld by Patricia A. McKillop. This is the story of Sybil. She is the great-granddaughter of a wizard. She doesn't have any dealings with the real world, but then one day a baby is brought to her to look after and she comes embroiled in human affairs, and I'm sure there's going to be magic and war and politics. There's The Riddlemaster's Game by Patricia A. McKillop. This is a story of a prince. I think it's going to be a quest type story where he's looking for a new land for his people, and I'm interested in reading this one. And finally, The Falling Women by Pat Murphy. This one sounds really intriguing. It's about an archaeologist who pursues this career, but she has a secret. She can see shadows of the past, which means that she finds these really great archaeological discoveries, because obviously her power helps her. But then one day in the Yucatan, the shadow of a Mayan priestess speaks to her. So this sounds really intriguing. So I will be trying to read some of those with the lovely Caitlin from Kitty G. Then I was sent 4 books from publishers, so I'll talk to you about those quickly. The first one is Wishbones by Virginia McGregor. So this is the story of Feather. Her mother is the most obese woman in Britain, and she comes home one day to find her mother in a diabetic coma. She desperately wants to try and help her, and this leads her to start looking into her mother's past and what's happened and what may have led to her becoming like this, and I believe this is meant to be quite a hard-hitting story. I was very kindly sent this by the author, and that is The Dragon's Blade Veiled Intentions by Michael R. Miller. If you've watched this channel for a while, you'll know that I absolutely loved The Dragon's Blade by Michael R. Miller. It was on my top books, I think, of 2015, and I thought this was brilliant. This is book 2 in this series, and I can't wait to get stuck in. I was very kindly sent from Walker Books The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. This is obviously a proof copy. This is the story of a young girl. She lives in a poor neighbourhood, and yet she goes to a private school in a different neighbourhood. She's torn between these two worlds, but she ends up being the only sole eyewitness of of an unarmed shooting of her best friend called Khalil, and this is meant to be a really interesting look at this topic and is inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement. And then finally I was sent All About Mia by Lisa Williamson. This is written by the same person who wrote The Art of Being Normal, which is a book I haven't yet read. This is the story of a middle child. The eldest child is a straight A student, the younger is a future Olympic swimmer, and the middle child just feels a bit lost. And this is about how her life spirals out of control and her relationship with her family, I believe, and I'm really intrigued to see where this one takes her. So those were the books that I was sent from publishers, and then the lovely girlies sent me a book each, so I shall talk about those quickly. So Janet from Swirly Girly Reads picked The Sorcerer and the Crown by Zen Cho for me. This is a book I am desperate to read. I've had it out from the library a couple of times over the past year and I just never got round to reading it. So now is the time. I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into this one because I've heard mixed things, but it really appeals to me and I believe it's got some really strong female characters and there's plenty of diversity. And then Brittany from Under the Radar Books picked for me In the Skin of a Monster by Catherine Barker. I really love the covers of both these books. This one's really beautiful too. I'll read you the back of this one. It says, 3 years ago, Alice's identical twin sister took a gun to school and killed 7 innocent kids. Now Alice wears the face of a monster. In a small town, no one can even stand to look at her. But when Alice encounters her sister on a deserted highway, bad is just the beginning. Alice soon finds herself trapped in a dangerous new reality, a broken world that's filled with the nightmares of everyone in the community. Here, with old secrets finally coming together, Alice is forced to confront the true impact of everything that happened that day in the schoolyard, including her hidden connection to the boy who hates her most. This just sounds intriguing. I can't wait to read this. And it's got a blurb from Melinda Marchetta that says, one of the most original novels I've read for a long while. So I'm looking forward to this one too. So there are less books coming in than there are books going out. So that is a big plus for Shelf Slam 2017. There won't be as many books. I'm hoping, 4 or 5 books coming in a month in terms of, the 2 from the girls and maybe 2 or 3 from publishers is I'm happy with. But this was an exceptional month because I had the SFF Masterworks came in and there was a big chunk of those. So I'm pleased. I'm still getting the shelf down and let me know if you've read any of these and what you thought of them, and let's chat as always in the comments. Bye for now, BookTube.